that claimed 26 lives on April 22nd. Russian President Vladimir Putin has backed Prime Minister Narendra Modi in its fight against terrorism. With this, India has support of 4 out of 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council of the United States, UK, France, and Russia, excluding China. These permanent members of the Council can use their veto power. India's diplomatic pitch builds on its long-standing stance that terror groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-ul-Mohammed enjoy patronizing and patronage from Pakistan's military intelligence establishment. The UN Security Council discussion, if tabled, is expected to highlight the growing frequency and sophistication of cross-border attacks, such as the Pahalgam terror attack. The brutal attack was initially claimed and later retracted by the Resistant Front, or TRF, Lashkar-e-Taiba proxy. Indian intelligence has directly linked the attack to handlers across the line of control. On the other hand, Pakistan, a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, is raking up the India-Pakistan tensions. However, it hasn't been able to find backers at the high table. The UN Security Council has agreed to hold a closed-door meeting with Pakistan at 8 a.m. GMT or 1:30 a.m. IST. Now, this comes after Islamabad requested an emergency meeting with the Council, which is being presided over by Greece for the month of May as the Council's president. Pakistan aims to highlight the issue under the header Threats to International Peace and Security. The Pakistani Foreign Ministry in a statement said that the Council will formally appease the UN Security Council of the latest developments in South Asia. It plans to raise the Indus Waters Treaty being put into abeyance by the Indian side. India's former ambassador to the UN, Syed Akbaruddin, who was the Indian ambassador to the UN when the last such closed-door meeting happened back in 2019, says that from his experience, no significant outcome is expected from the informal closed-door consultations. Speaking to WION, he said, and this is a quote, "Pakistan's initiative is a public diplomacy effort aimed at shaping perceptions rather than advancing negotiations." All right, for more on this, our assistant editor for Foreign Affairs, Siran Sybil, has sent us this report. Take a listen.
Well, so far the tensions between India and Pakistan remain in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack by Pakistani terrorists, but it looks like a lot of activity is going to take place in New York later today at the UN headquarters, where an informal meeting, a closed-door meeting essentially is going to take place on the situation in the subcontinent called by the Pakistani side, which is, of course, a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. India, of course, has been reaching out to the members of the UNSC. The Indian External Affairs Minister has spoken to 9 out of 10 non-permanent members of the UNSC and 4 out of 5 permanent members of the UNSC. The only 2 countries with which there hasn't been any top-level conversation is, of course, China and, of course, Pakistan, which is, of course, the country responsible for the terror attack here in India. But the dynamics at the UNSC will be closely noticed here in New Delhi. We know that India has friends, and in fact, the Pahalgam terror attack statement that came from the UNSC came after the initiative was taken by the Americans. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Siddhant Sibbal for WION in New Delhi.